strong housing market, the average time to sell a home is usually 6 months. But currently in the state line, the average is 3 weeks. Because of that, February's housing inventory in the Rockford area was the 5th lowest in 27 years. But WIFR News reporter Anthony Ferretti explores a way to combat the housing shortage, and that's the new home market.
The average price gap between new and existing properties was almost non-existent nationwide in 2024, meaning new home builds have become a more realistic option for a growing number of those looking to tap into the real estate market.
It's a phenomenon that we've never seen before.
Chris Yelsey has worked in real estate development for more than a quarter century and says he's never been this busy.
We typically do 6 to 8 houses a year. In the last 10 days to 2 weeks, we've signed 3 contracts.
There is typically a 15% difference between the average price of a new and existing home, but that margin now sits at just 2%. And by the end of 2024, the median existing home price exceeded the new home price for the first time since 1989.
We didn't get here overnight. We're not going to get out of here overnight. So having the gap starting to close in terms of what new construction costs versus existing homes is certainly beneficial.
Making it more affordable for first-time buyers to create their dream home from the ground up.
It's really an attractive element, and if we can offer that as part of our entire real estate inventory, we want to be sure we can.
There's a limited amount of builders, not just in this market, but across the nation. It's just causing a lot of pressure on us as builders to be able to meet the demand.
Realtor.com says the nation has a housing supply gap of nearly 4 million homes. At this rate, that gap will take more than 7 years to close.
It's critical cities, municipalities, villages work with contractors and developers to make things more affordable. Here in Boone County, there's no building permit fees. Other municipalities like Rockford, they have the tax rebate program. That spurred some growth in new construction as well.
Yelsey advises home buyers to get referrals and talk with customers of contractors to see if they are the best fit for your home project.
Thank you, Anthony. And Yelsey says because of high land costs, you're seeing more attached housing, which is actually an ideal way for first-time buyers to build some equity.